The Monday, August 10th, 2026 regular meeting of the Perry City Council is hereby called to order at 5:30 p.m. For the purpose of this meeting, there is a quorum of the council present. Agenda item number 2, invocation. Mayor Pro Tem Savage will deliver the invocation, and the City Council will lead the pledge. Please stand.
Shall we pray? Father God, we just thank you, Lord, for another day that wasn't promised. We thank you for all the opportunities that you presented to us today, Lord. And most of all, we thank you for the opportunity to tell somebody about your Son, Jesus Christ. Lord, we ask that you continue to bless us and help us, Lord, as we make decisions on behalf of this city, Lord. Touch the staff and the council as we deliberate, Lord. Father, we ask that you also keep in your care the first responders who are out on a daily basis, Lord, in this heat and trying to do the best that they can. And Lord, we also ask that you keep our military in your care, Lord, whether they're stateside or across the water. We ask that you bless them, touch their families, and bless their hearts, Lord. And Father, we will give you all the praise and glory for all these things. And it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
All right, we will now move on to the Citizens Forum.
Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentations to no more than 2 minutes, and remarks must be limited to matters of city business. Speakers will not be allowed to cede speaking time to others. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city council members, or employees, including but not limited to claims in pending litigation, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for Citizens Forum. If necessary, the City Council may convene into executive session under Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code regarding any item on this agenda.
All right, with that being said, I'll go ahead and open the Citizens Forum and ask if anyone would like to come to speak. Please state your name and address for the record.
Alvin Atwood, 110 Private Road, 33086, Sumner, Texas. We're going to go beyond this tragedy of a budget and talk about the fact that this council once again believes it's going to force its way inside of our homes yet again. That is not happening, period. I've already talked to multiple members of law enforcement. I've talked to judicial branches. I've talked to people that are representing the state of Texas. I've even sent up word to the Texas Attorney General about that tragedy that people think that they're just going to come in our house without probable cause or warrant. That is a clear Fourth Amendment violation. You may not like the Constitution, but it was there to give us our freedoms and prevent a government from forcing their way inside the house. Look, man, I get it. It's good intentions. There are some slumlords in this city, and they need to be dealt with. They are doing people wrong. But like you said, Mr. Pro Tem Savage, that it's not enough to make a task force and just force your way in. There's got to be a better way. Either way, I've already been up talking. I didn't know there were so many different levels of government that I got to talk to before I can take it to the Attorney General's office. I think I'm supposed to be talking to Ms. Harris here pretty soon. Either way, that's got to stop. Period. You're not coming in our houses, man. If somebody calls and complains, the Justice of the Peace didn't like the fact that y'all said that they were processing illegal evictions. They're not processing illegal evictions. In fact, I can give you cases where they have sided with the tenant when a landlord sought to evict them. The 2 minutes here is not enough to keep talking about that, but that's just where I wanted to stand. Thank y'all.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll go ahead and close the Citizens Forum. We will now move on to the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are approved by a single action of the council, with such approval applicable to all items appearing on the consent agenda. A council member may request any item to be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. Council, does anyone wish to remove any item for further discussion?
Items 13 and 14.
Okay, items 13 and 14. So I hear a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Then we will go ahead and move those out. Aside from that, do we want to hear a approval for the consent agenda?
Make the motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I second.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. With that being said, then we'll go ahead and move on to the regular agenda, and I know that motion had been made for 13 and 14 to be placed onto the regular. So we'll go ahead and go forward with 13. Receive the Paris Economic Development Corporation's 26-27 annual budget. Good evening, Ms. Hammond.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. As the mayor mentioned, I'm here tonight to present our proposed 26-27 budget. The PEDC board has reviewed and approved this budget, and it's now before City Council for the oversight and approval required by state law. Tonight, I also have with me our treasurer, Chase Coleman. So, Chase, thank you for being here tonight. Before I walk through the numbers, I wanted to clarify two things that I think are important to the budget in the process. The PEDC is funded by a quarter-cent sales tax, not property tax. That sales tax is approved for economic development purposes and administered through the PEDC. The PEDC is also a separate legal entity from the city. It is a nonprofit corporation created under the Texas Economic Development Corporation Act with its own board, assets, financial statements, contracts, and statutory responsibilities. However, City Council has oversight, and that relationship is intentionally structured as a partnership with checks and balances. The City Council appoints the PEDC board members. It also reviews and approves our financial statements and our budget, as well as expenditures over $400,000, and that includes any loan. So with new council member, I thought that might be helpful to know. So with that framework, I'm going to turn to the proposed budget. This is the budget that we are working from, that we submitted, so I'm not sure what is in your packet, but this is what I will be referencing as I walk through it. Starting with the revenue, operating revenue is projected at approximately $2 million. Sales tax revenues budgeted at $2 million, which is $100,000 or approximately 5.3% above the current year budget. We left interest income at $75,000, so that's a 5% increase for revenue. Moving on to operating expenses, we've increased that from approximately $651,000 to $703,000, or about 8%. That increase is concentrated primarily in personnel costs, legal services, audit and compilation services, and utilities. Those are the costs of administering our projects, meeting legal and financial compliance, managing our contractual obligations, and carrying out the work that we do every day. On to marketing and business development. That level remains at $145,000. We've just reallocated where that money will be spent. As you can see, we've allocated $50,000 to signage at the Northwest Industrial Park. We've had a lot of new development in that industrial park, and I think that sign is like, I don't know how many decades old, but it doesn't reflect the current brand that we all have embraced over the past few years. So hopefully we can get that done pretty quick. Moving on to direct business incentives, you'll see that there is a decrease from approximately $1.55 million to roughly $1 million. That's a reduction in direct business incentives of approximately 38%. That decrease reflects the completion or phase out of several significant incentive obligations. Most of our incentive obligations are 3 years, some are 5 years. It just depends on the project. Moving on to debt service and capital projects, that is a modest increase from 325 to 338,000. That reflects the scheduled note obligations due to the city. We also have capital and industrial park development funding remaining at 150,000. That is for land development, site readiness, and business park maintenance, so holding costs related to the roughly 600 acres that we own and operate. Last, our overall financial position, I think the strongest story, and Chase can chime in if he wants to, overall direction of expenditures and reserves. So our total budgeted expenditures is declining by about 19%. Our operating deficit improves from approximately 861,000 to 208,000, and our year-end cash and investments are projected at $4.12 million. So sales tax revenue is growing. Our total expenditures are projected to decline by 19%. Our incentive obligations are down by approximately 38%, and we are maintaining a strong reserve while continuing to invest in job creation and all of the activities we're charged with. Again, the PEDC board has reviewed this budget and recommends its approval, and so happy to answer any questions, but we're here tonight to ask for your approval. I think before I drop that, I will just run very quickly into our plan of work. The budget is the financial expression of our plan of work. Our plan focuses on 7 strategic initiatives, so retaining and growing existing employers, attracting new employers in industry, supporting entrepreneurship, workforce development, managing and expanding our land holdings and building assets, and strengthening a unified economic unified vision for the community and region, as well as additional activities. So I'm happy to answer any questions related to the budget or our plan of work.
Maureen, I have a few questions, if you don't mind.
Please.
Okay, on the Roger Wade project, did that, I think last year is showing 93,000, and this year it doesn't show up at all. Did that just complete? Was it
Yes.
complete? Okay.
Yes.
Was that a 3-year one, or?
It was a 3-year.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And then looking at this is the second year in a row that you had to go into deficit for the budget to draw from the reserve. Do you have a reserve minimum that you're required to keep on board?
I would think, and I may defer to Steve or Chase on this, I presume that we do. We've never really hit that point.
Toward that. Do we have a projection when it will be breaking even again, or a balanced budget?
It's hard for an EDC to break even, right? You have incentive obligations that you have to book every year, so.
Y'all made a huge increase. Obviously, on the positive side, you've been going from 900,000 down to 200,000 in 1 year, so that's a great way of doing business. It's
Yeah.
good. Anybody else have questions? I feel like I'm just running them mouth out there.
I don't have a
Do you have
question.
anything to add, Chase? Not to put you on the
Well, I
spot,
think
but
what you're saying, as far as that deficit, we had some projects that lapsed or expired.
Okay.
And so that's the main reason why the deficit
Okay.
went from 900,000
That
to
makes
200,000. We usually stagger out these incentive projects over 3 to 5 years just to help with that cash flow as well. I don't think it's presented here, but we do have a 10-year cash flow projection.
Okay, yeah.
It's
We'll show
after
you that
year
on
two,
Friday.
yeah, after year 2 or 3, it's a shot in the dark because the way things change. But we do show growing cash over those 10 years
modestly. Yeah.
modestly.
Modestly, yeah.
That's without any new incentive projects, of course.
Okay, great.
Which that's what we're here for. That's what we want to do.
And how many employees do y'all have at the EDC now?
3.
3? Okay. So, and your overhead with everything's about 400,000 projected for next year with the 3 employees?
Yes.
And then I think the insurance costs are running about 52,000, is that
It's
correct?
300,000.
Well,
411 for the
Yeah,
total.
for the total,
for
for the benefits.
everything.
And the benefits is showing about 52,000 for 3 employees. Do y'all do a set amount or percentage that you're covering for the employees and their
100%.
family? Do you know what that amount is, or is it a percentage, or you?
It's 100%.
Oh, y'all pay for 100% of the benefits? Wow, okay. Okay.
I don't have a question, but I do have one comment. At Lamar County Days, I know they're coming up in 27. I think it would be great to have a strong delegation from our city, I know Chamber does a great job. I know EDC's there. we want to team up. I think having a good strategic plan of at least I know from our city side of things, what I envision is to see a good cohort of our city staff that really want to go, be present and really kind of see this initiative through. I know that EDC has their objectives to go through, and I know Chamber has their objectives too. And if there's any coalescing that we can come to some common ground with to be able to fight for each other, I definitely would love to see that. But I think that there's some good potential there, and I'm really excited about the upcoming Lamar County Days in the spring. Is it still in the spring?
It is, and Mayor, I think that's a great idea. I will defer to Mr. Allen, since I believe his office coordinates with the regional team that organizes that, but
Yes.
I think that would be great.
I'm excited. That's always a great program that I know the Chamber helps to put on, and man, that's a good opportunity for us to take advantage, especially now that, a lot of our state dollars are becoming very tough to get allocated. If we can continue to keep fighting hard, we can get more funds.
I would like to add something, Mayor. In the last, 6 years, we've supported 18 project announcements. Given our budget and the decrease in the incentive obligations, that is tremendous. 2,000 jobs supported and $500 million in new investment. Not every project receives an incentive. Not every project receives an abatement. In fact, I think less than 50% received incentives from the EDC or tax abatements. And so I think that is worth noting. So.
And I'll state, I know this is pertaining to the budget and the plan of work. You guys have done an excellent job in really helping to continue to keep that economic, drive going in our community. And I want to see more support for that. I think we're united all together that what we want to help and continue that to strive. This is an economic community, right? This is an industrial city. That's part of our community, hardworking citizens. And we've got to continue to support that. So whatever you guys need from the EDC, the city's always here, and I know it goes vice versa. So we all want to work together and continue the success. I know economic times are challenging right now, but we have to, now more than ever, our community has to come together and really look at what's important here. And so I appreciate all the efforts that you guys put forth, and I know our council does too. So.
Well, thank you for the appointments you've made to the PEDC board, truly. And thank you for all of your support and partnership on these projects. This board takes its fiduciary responsibilities very seriously. So very grateful for the partnership and working with all of you and the board.
Awesome. Council, any other questions, any other comments? All right, if not, then I'll go ahead and entertain anyone that has a motion.
A motion to approve the EDC budget.
I second the motion.
Okay.
This was just to receive.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, okay. Okay, just wanted to make sure. All right. Well, not a problem then. At least we've
received it.
Yeah, we've received it. And there's no need for a motion, so that's great. Good, problem averted there, all right? So we're going to continue with the regular scheduled agenda and move on to item number 15, receive presentation from the city manager and finance director, discuss and provide direction on the fiscal year 26-27 budget for the city of Paris. Ms. Rogers, you have a presentation?
I do.
All right.
Bring this down. So, good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. So I'm going to go through an overview, much like I did last time. So I'll go through this. Oops, sorry. So the proposed budget for 2026-27 was developed to reflect the city's mission and financial policy. Oops. So the Government Finance Officers Association, a lot of times you'll hear that referred to GFOA, they recommend that governments engage in strategic planning to provide a vision for the future that can be used to align budgeting with organizational priorities. So the City Council adopted a new strategic plan on December 8th, 2025 that includes these 5 strategic outcomes, and that's to serve citizens with professionalism and integrity, promote a safe community for all citizens, promote a prosperous community, provide effective services, as well as provide an excellent quality of life. being finicky. With the strategic plan, priority phasing was prepared for the next 5 years and beyond. So phase 1 is building a foundation for the next phases of the strategic plan. This foundation is planned for the first 2 years, and it began during the fiscal year 2026 budget. One of GFOA's best practices is to integrate strategic planning into your annual budget cycle. Therefore, phase 1 has been carried forward into fiscal year 2027 proposed budget with a major focus of the 311 platform launch, compensation study implementation, as well as the Parks Master Plan. The strategic plan was developed to help address these major challenges of the city and to prepare the city for the future. These major challenges include adequate compensation to attract and retain essential personnel for critical operations, limited revenue sources, as well as aging infrastructure and capital needs. The proposed budget for fiscal year 26-27, based on certified roll, is available for review on the city's website. There's a link on the home page as well as a link on the budget page, which if you go to home, then government, then budget, you'll be able to find that link. Based on citizen feedback, requested revisions have been incorporated into the most recent proposed budget that's available online. The proposed budget has 4 main types of funds that are budgeted. We have the general fund, the water sewer fund, and the airport fund. Those are our main operating funds. And then we have special funds, and they are limited by legal restrictions, so they're kept in separate funds. Next, I'm going to go into the general fund. So overall revenue budget increase in the general fund is 9%, or $3.16 million, with a majority of that increase coming from property tax. General fund revenues include property tax, sales tax, EMS, and other revenue. So property tax and sales tax, as you can see from this chart, are the primary sources of revenue, making up over 58% of the general fund revenue budget. So overall expenditure budget in the general fund is basically flat at a 0.08% decrease, or $31,000 decrease. The expenditure budget includes staffing reduction. It includes continuing stipends for emergency services, including EMS, fire, dispatch, and public works, as well as addressing some capital needs. 78% of the budget goes to fund EMS, fire, dispatch, and public works operations. Property tax revenue is the most stable revenue source available to fund critical needs, so I want to touch on the property tax rate. So it has 2 components. It has the maintenance and operation tax rate, that's for daily operations, and then it has the debt tax rate for debt payments related to capital improvements. The M&O part is that revenue that's collected from the M&O part of the tax rate. That's what goes to the general fund to fund the operations. So here is a chart reviewing the total taxable value along with the M&O tax rates and debt rate over the last several years. If you see, the fiscal year 2026 is based on the certified roll that was received on July 24th, 2026, and the proposed rates needed to fund the fiscal year 2027 proposed budget. As mentioned before, the taxable, and as most of you know, the taxable value increases, the M&O, as the taxable value increases, the M&O tax rate decreases. So Senate Bill 2 that was enacted in 2019 limits the city's ability to increase its M&O tax rate. So the proposed tax rate for fiscal year 2027 will require an election for voter approval. This slide shows the proposed property tax revenue increase impact on a 2026 average homestead taxable value of $171,256. This slide shows that the shows the current tax rate compared to the proposed tax rate and what that increase would look like. So it's 10-cent increase per $100 valuation. That equates to $171 annually, $14 per month, or 47 cents per day. The return on investment for total revenue collected in the general fund includes all the services listed here and more. Okay, the water and sewer fund operations and capital improvements are funded by fees collected for providing water and sewer services. Overall proposed revenue increase is 2% or $448,000. Overall proposed expense budget increase is 3% or $604,000. The airport fund overall revenue increase is 5% or $58,000. Revenues include hangar rentals, ground leases, fuel sales, and ramp grant. Overall expenditure increase is 3% or $39,000. Aviation fuel is the major operating expense, followed by personnel cost and then capital. As mentioned before, special funds are typically limited with legal restrictions, so they're kept in separate funds from the operating funds. This just shows our calendar, and you can see that we started in March, and now we're to the budget, tax, and finalization phase. Lots of communication and coordination and collaboration across the entire organization, as well as stakeholders help to prepare and develop this year's budget. And then next is we've got critical dates coming up. So we have some tonight, and then we have some on August 24th. So tonight is the state law required public hearing on the fiscal year 26-27 budget. Just a note, at the close of the public hearing tonight, per state law, council has to take action on the budget. So you'll see those two agenda items. One is to adopt the budget. The other is to ratify the property tax increase. Those two can be postponed to the next council meeting. You're not obligated to approve those tonight, but you do have to take action on those. So, and then we've got the proposed tax rate for fiscal year 26-27 and a call the public hearing on the proposed tax rate tonight, as well as order the tax election tonight. And then on August 24th, we have the state law required public hearing on the tax rate. And then if postponed tonight, we'll have adopt the fiscal year 26-27 budget and ratify the property tax revenue increase. And then we'll have on the 24th as well to adopt the tax rate and levy for fiscal year 26-27. And with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Council, any questions? If not, I know staff is looking for some guidance on direction on how we want to proceed forward.
And if it's okay, Mayor, if I
Oh, yes,
can
please.
talk for just a second about this budget. So I've been here at the city for over a year and a half now, and one of the things that we get calls on every day are services that we need to provide outside of emergency services, but can it sometimes be emergency services as well? And those come from the Public Works Department, in the Parks Department, and the streets, and abatement crews and things like that. And so we know we're behind. We realize that. And we have had a hard time catching up because we do not have enough people and we do not have enough money to catch up properly. So the proposed budget that we had at the last council meeting included adding some people back in. And as our budget has shrank over the years, those positions that were there were cut. And that's why we're behind. And you know as well as I do that we get calls about this every day, or emails or messages. So the proposed budget that we proposed at the last meeting included adding some of those positions that have been cut and they're just not filled, or when people left because we couldn't afford them. So as the budget has shrank compared to our needs, we cut people out of the budget to make that work. Everybody says, do what you can with the budget that you have, right? You want to balance the budget. When I got here, I did walk into an unbalanced budget. So now we are trying to balance that budget. Last time we were here, or last time that we presented you a budget, it included a 20-cent tax increase. That was, the purpose of that was to get back on track. Not just to balance the budget, but to balance it and get back on track. However, we have received a lot of feedback from the community that that's too big of a bite to take off at once. We do understand that. So what we have done is we have decided to cut back on our compensation plan. We're only going to continue to fund the stipends for the emergency services. Those emergency services include the fire, EMS, Public Works, and the 911 operators, where we have been bleeding people from the most. We have lost so much money in revenue from EMS because we can't keep enough people employed. We need to have enough firemen to answer your calls. So we really need to fund this 10-cent increase. Now, we've cut back to 10 cents. That's not going to allow us to catch up on the other things we're behind on, but that will continue to stabilize the budget, and it will also allow us to have a balanced budget, which is always our goal. And so we're asking the community to back us on this. Please back us. We need to keep our emergency services stabilized. We would like to add those other services back in, and maybe as time allows or growth, we can continue to do that. But at this time, we at least need to do this. We need to balance this budget, and we are asking you to support us on that. And if, when we go to the public hearing, hopefully we'll get some feedback from people if they have any. You don't have anything else to add?
You know, if I may have added just a couple words to that too, and I think you presented that very well. So I know this is not an easy situation that anyone wants to go through. And I'll tell you that straight up. I'll tell you, this council has been very transparent with the issues that have come before our community. We try to do whatever we can. We've inherited a bunch of bleeding, but we're trying to stop it. We really are trying. And we feel it too. I'm a business owner. I feel it triply on those businesses plus my home. So I totally understand the frustrations, and I get it. And we all get it from a council perspective because we hear our citizens complain. We have the complaints from emails, phone calls, texts, you name it, at all hours of the day. And so we're here for our community, but this is our time as a community to voice that. And if there is something constructive, let's do this. Let's do this as a community together. Let's embrace this process together. It's not popular. I'll tell you right now, if we all wanted to have a victory badge, we wouldn't be proposing this. That's the easy thing to do. Mm-hmm. But time after time, this council has had to make tough decisions. And I'll tell you right now, it's not easy sitting up here to make those tough decisions. But without having proper discourse and proper communication and really talking about the issues and being transparent, we can't operate as a community. What is a community without good discussion? So we take every bit of criticism, whether it's constructive or downright kind of tough, right? Tough love, but we take it. And we want that. But it helps us to understand what direction we need to go in. So by all means, this isn't a 7-person vote. This is our community's voice. Yep. That's what we're about. And I'll tell you that 100%. So on Christmas Day, I've been out there with our firemen on their trucks trying to look at what kind of position we're in. It's tough. These men are working really hard trying to fight fire with the bare minimum. The bare minimum. And that is, we have cut, and this is where we're at, right? And so we've got to get out of this rut, but now is a time, and I'll tell you, if there's ever to be a council that has been transparent, now is a time we have to have a reality check, and we're here for it. So, and I'm not trying to be all doom and gloom. If I'll be honest, if you know me, I'm probably one of the most optimistic people. If you give me a lump of coal, we're going to make that into the best thing possible. That's what we're here for. But now is the time that we got to embrace it. We got to move forward, and we got to keep fighting as a community for our region. Yes. And for our neighbors. It's a tough time, so we got to work together. And I just say that just so that way I can be transparent and not regret not saying anything. I want to honestly be very transparent with you all. These are the same conversations I have at the dinner table with my family whenever I get a chance to eat with them. We all work hard because we've got to make that money to put food on the table. And so I just want to just say that, and I feel good to be able to say that this evening.
Can I add one thing as well? Is that, I was amazed, I'm the newest one on the council, but just talking to the fire chief, that the police or the fire trucks have doubled in prices since COVID. I mean, and we saw tax rates decrease in the past 10 or 15 years to cover these costs. So, we know that the things didn't, they're not decreasing in prices, things are doubling in prices, and so we have to do something with the taxes and make it catch up to somewhere. We can't keep letting taxes go down and not be able to pay for fire trucks and ambulances or EMS services. So that surprised me the most in the last 2 weeks. So that's the way I see it anyhow. So thank you.
Yeah, and, very well presented, Rose, very well explained, Mayor, and I appreciate the hard work that our finance team has put in as late as last week. You had to come back and revise it, and you did it very quickly, so we appreciate that. But yeah, we have to catch up. I mean, we've been behind the 8 ball for a long time, and we have to raise these taxes to catch up. It's not trying to bleed people. It's necessary. It's almost mandatory that we do this, and we hope the whole community backs us on this, because we're not just sitting up here making decisions to bleed the community to give. It's not that take from the poor, give to the rich type thing. We need this. The mayor said when he's able to sit down with his family. Well, we have a lot of first responders that are not able to sit down with their family because they're working so much, and it's hard to keep up with the McKinneys, the Planos. It's hard to compete with that when wages are so great, and Paris is becoming a training ground for first responders, and then they leave because who wouldn't leave for the type of money that's out there? So we need to be competitive. And as far as me and my family, I want the best people here. When I call 911, I want the right people to respond. And if we have trained them, and obviously we have a great training ground because everybody wants our workers. So I want the best workers to stay here in Paris. I do want them to go home safely, in numbers, having the right amount of police staff on the roads, having the right amount of firemen fighting the fire, having the right amount of EMS people working where they're not rushing and they're being safe. That's important, and we really need that, and I just hope that Paris rallies together and supports this tax initiative.
Anyone else?
I just want to say I want to thank the team, the financial team, and Rose for really sounding the alarm on this. There's been some things that have been overlooked and a little complacency, and because in the name of saving, but we've let our house, we've not taken care of our house. And I'll say that when I heard that the Public Works team has 5 people and they take care of 200 miles of roads, they have 5 people. It's just not sustainable. And it's not that this council isn't doing things, because we are, we approved the Forest Brook Estates. There's a brand new development coming in, but we need people to want to buy the houses. And if they come on our roads are falling apart, and our sewer systems and our infrastructure is just deteriorating, they're not going to want to buy a $250,000 house here. So we just need to get our house in order. And again, I commend you, Rose.
Yes.
None of us want to make this decision, but we have put things on the back burner. There's another slide of our water treatment plant. In 2016, it was going to cost $30 million, and we had to borrow $100 million. If we don't take care of our house, it falls apart. So that's all I have to say.
Well said.
Anyone else?
I would like to add one thing. In order to balance this budget, we did have to cut 6 positions from our current roster, and we're already behind. So we were asking for 20 cents. We not only cut every new position that we were going to add to catch up, in addition to that, we cut 6 more. It's give and take. If we're going to stay within our means and have a balanced budget, we have to give up positions, because that's our #1 cost. And so I just want to let you all know that we're working hard to balance the budget and stay on track, but there's a price we pay. And the most important thing right now, in my opinion, as the city manager, is to stabilize the services, emergency services. And so that's what I'm asking for. Thank you. And thank you to our council, because it's brave. To go to a vote, when I first started talking about this, I heard there had only been 4 other cities that had to do it in Texas. Right now, I think there are a lot of them. Coming out of COVID and the way that the prices have gone up on cities and our statutorial limitations, cities are in trouble. It's not just us, but we are very behind because of a long time of, like Alex was saying, things were falling apart and we just haven't been keeping up.
All right. Does that provide enough direction?
Thank you.
Okay.
It's good direction.
All right.
Yes.
Good deal. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Rogers. I appreciate that, and we look forward to working. Agenda item number 16, conduct a public hearing on the city manager's proposed budget for fiscal year 26-27.
Do you
Staff?
want me to say? I'll just make a few comments and then we can open it. So again, my name Myra Rogers, Assistant Finance Director. So this public hearing on the proposed 26-27 budget, it's required by Section 48 of the charter, of the city charter, and then also of the state local government code 102. The public hearing is to allow citizens an opportunity to provide input on the proposed budget. Just a reminder, the proposed budget was filed with the city clerk and placed on the city's website as per the state law for public viewing. And then just at the conclusion of this, city council has to take action, either to adopt the budget and ratify the property tax revenue increase, or you can postpone it to August 24th meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. So I know on this particular agenda item, I know there's no action to be taken, but we will conduct a public hearing. So at this time, I want to go ahead and open up the public hearing for anyone that would like to speak on this item, to please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
Alvin Atwood, I ain't moved in the last 5 minutes. 110 Private Road, 33086, Sumner, Texas, 75486. Look, I feel bad now, but y'all only got 2 minutes here? Because, I mean, I got to give it about...
It's open.
All right. Look, man, I get it. I agree. We're in bad shape, and my thing is, I reviewed the proposed budget, and there are things in there that I don't think we have to have right now. We propose to have billions of dollars invested in our city, and tax income over in the high range, and certain things there. Can we wait to get some of those positions until that time? For just an example, emergency services manager. Lamar County's got one. We're only 20. And y'all got to stop. You got to stop comparing us to a city of 500,000 to 1 million people. We're 25,000 deep. Here's my thing: 26% of this city lives in poverty, and that number has grown. I wish City of Paris was where y'all want. I want it to be there too. I really do. Like the street sweepers, I would love to see them come back. The grass growing onto the side of the road, I would love to see all these great and wonderful things y'all are trying to build, man. I would. I'm not just hey, note. I am even for a tax increase, but not that much. You got to think about. Let me throw something out there for y'all. My property at 2419 Bonham Street went up almost $40,000 in value from the Degum appraisal district. That's all. That's more taxes I got to pay. I don't pay just City of Paris taxes. I pay Lamar County taxes. I pay school taxes. I pay these taxes. I pay those taxes. If you get $400 this year, this person gets $200 the following year. The next person gets $200 the following year. By the time, if I give you all $1, by the time it's all said and done, I'm out almost $10. That's what we're looking at, man. And you know who pays that? You think that 26% poverty rate's going to go down? No, because I'm going to take that $400 you charge me and that $200 Lamar County charges me, and I'm going to take this money that these people charge me, and I'm going to pass it right on to my tenant. I got a house, 3-bedroom, nice, got a jacuzzi, bathtub. I mean, this is a super nice house, sound system into the wall. Most people rent these kind of houses for $1,700, $1,800 a month. I could have rented my house for $1,700, $1,800 a month. You know how much I rented it for? $1,450. You know how much I'm gonna make on that a month? $50. $50. Primarily because solar sucks. It does not work. I'm paying $200 for a solar system that produces almost nothing. I screwed up. Nonetheless, my business partner has a house over here on 13th Street in an area that's considered nobody wants to invest into. He invested, not only did he bought the property, he invested thousands upon thousands of dollars into that property. He lost money. Lost money, $1,200 a month in rent. He's got to go up. What do you think's going to happen if you raise up taxes? We ain't got no choice. I mean, we're $50 a month is what I make off my house that I lived in, I raised my family in. I had no choice. You're not considering all of that, man. I'm sorry, I've supported police. The other day, Paris police officer was having trouble inside Home Depot trying to purchase some stuff because the Home Depot employees couldn't figure it out. I paid for it. He's like, do you want a receipt? I said, no, that's not my job, man. That's not really helping out the police department. You keep the receipt, because if I use it for a tax refund, that's selfishness still. I didn't ask for that. Why? Because I also seen a Paris police officer come out of his own pocket and pay for gas to somebody that run out of gas. So it's my job to do my part. I support police, fire, EMS. I didn't know EMS brought us money. EMS. I support all these things. But giving them a massive, we need to compete with the schools. We needed to compete with surrounding cities, not Dallas. They want to go over there for $10,000, $15,000 more and go get shot at? Let them go, man. Let them go. Firefighters have way more leisure time in the city of Paris. EMS, I don't know how busy EMS, I hadn't looked at it. But if they want to go over these places where people are shooting at them and hate, I mean, firefighters are getting shot at in these big cities, not police officers, firefighters are. Let them go over there for $10,000 more a year, $15,000 more a year. Not until, one day when we can afford it, when all this income comes in that PEDC is getting us, give them more money. I'm for it. I'm for it. Not until we can afford it. That's all I'm asking. Wait till we can afford it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Michael Feaster, 4215 Shannon Drive, Paris, Texas, former mayor of Paris. So I know exactly what all you guys are going through. So I know about the police, the fire, and everything. And I also know what another former council member did. He had some hard choices to do back in 2005. Did you guys review that? When he brought the tax rate from 77 cents down to 56 cents? That's what needs to be done. I went over the budget a little bit, and I just picked randomly the current proposed budget versus the 2016-2017 budget. I haven't looked at the budget since the last budget in 2003, and I really didn't have anything I wanted to look at anymore. Like, once you leave, you might have your stomach full of this. Well, the taxes are getting unbearable. And let's be honest about the taxes. There's what you call no new tax rate, and I think that's what you were referring to. We did raise taxes because the taxes are going right to the businesses. Kimberly-Clark, Campbell Soup, every business is feeling it. It goes right to their bottom line. It goes to my bottom line. It hits you like a brick. So when you want to give your employees raises, you got to worry about that. How are you going to pay for it? I'm already worried how I'm going to pay the property taxes of last year's rates for my rental properties. I only have $15,000 saved up for the $30,000 I'm expecting to have to pay, not counting what's in escrow for the other properties. And then you guys want to tack on another 20%? And it's not all the city. This is what I'm having to deal with personally. And then when I go raise the rent, I'll invite any of you to come with me and watch them cry when I tell them they got to raise your rent. Why? I'll take you with me when I do some air conditioning calls in any of your districts, and I'll let you see some old ladies that say, I can't afford the refrigerant, and they go without. I can take you right now. They're waiting until I get enough money where I can afford to put some in there for free. This is what our community is seriously putting up with. And it's not a matter of I support the police, I support the fire. When I was mayor, I used to say, police, fire, and roads, anything else is fluff. I didn't want to hear about it. If we don't have the money for the police, fire, and roads, I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about the Main Street. I don't want to hear about anything else. It's all nice. I like everything else. But what is government for? We're not here to please everybody else. Why do you want to dig in everybody else's pocket to give it to everybody? It's not what government's for. We're basic services, police, fire, and roads. That's all government should be for. It wasn't to do all for everything. Go back to the basics. This is 250 years. It's out there all over. You can hear what our founding fathers set up this government for. They got tired of being taxed. That's why we had the revolution we had. It was over taxes. And look at where we're at now. We're getting taxed to death again. It's in our life everywhere we go. Tax, tax, tax. You know, and is it hard? The easy thing is just to tax it. And just reading through the budget, I see we're going to have certificates of obligation, just to fund basic things that were in the budget when I was a mayor. That's like buying your groceries with credit card. They ran an article. I walked in to work at Kimberly Clark one day, and everybody's holding up the paper. Mayor almost bankrupts the city of Paris. Well, let me tell you, I didn't almost bankrupt the city of Paris, because you all know one person can't bankrupt the city. It takes 4. But I was the guy that had the news article that said the mayor almost bankrupted the city. No, the mayor was holding the line and saying, we're not raising the taxes anymore. Cut, cut, cut. Police, fire, and roads. And that's exactly what you have now. You have no contingencies. We was going through the ice storm of 2000 at the time. We were under contingencies for the water and sewer plant back in then. If you go look, we had to fix the sewer plant. That's what got me to be the mayor at the time. Same scenario. History repeats itself. Why do we have to do the wastewater treatment plant again? Because we're not maintaining our equipment. We build it, we don't maintain it. We're not paying the maintenance staff. See what Kimberly Clark and Campbell Soup and all these other people pay their maintenance people. We're paying our maintenance people what they pay helpers. We're going to be buying another $120 million plant in another 25 years because it's going to disintegrate, because we don't put the right people in there. That's just common sense. I'm maintenance for 45 years. I'm just telling you straight up. But at the same time, I only worry about police, fire, and roads. But you got to take care of your water and sewer plant too. But let's just go over a couple of these things from those two. 2016 budget, 2017 budget. Police, 75.4% increase in 10 years. Didn't realize that, did you? Fire, 44.6% increase in 10 years. Not near as much. EMS, 100.6% increase in 10 years. General expenses, 11.57% decrease in 10 years. Sanitation. Now that's an interesting thing. because that really is a tax increase for us. Because we privatized it, here we had it for tax-free. And then some city manager that I talked to and asked, why are you taking something and going to turn it to profit? We had a business we didn't have to run for profit. You turn it over, and now we have a company that's doing it for profits, and they got stockholders. And now it's coming back to roost because it's in the budget. $2,194,000. What is that for the dump fee, or where's that expense coming back into the budget from? You're allowed to answer on that one.
Yeah, this is public hearing.
It's a public hearing. So you're allowed to talk on it, aren't you, Stephanie?
Well, we're not doing a Q&A this evening.
I was just wondering where it come from,
But
but,
we are going to have a lot
Okay.
of public back and forth.
all right,
Once
well,
the sign
anyway,
up
that
is-
one, it's just coming back. Let's just be aware. That is coming back. It should have never come back. It should have never left us. These things are coming back. These bad decisions are coming back to bite us in the butt. Community development, 110.7%. Streets and highway, 7% increase. Now that's sad. 7% increase in a road. Do you know that once the foundation of the road, the base, do you know when they start building the road, they do the base? And once that base, we're going to have to redo the whole base. Then we're done. We got to start all over again. Parks and Recreation, 38.5%. Library, 28%. City Clerk, 72.4%. Accounting and Auditing, 94.4%. Engineering, a negative 24.8%. Traffic and Lighting, a negative 7.25%. City Manager, 62% increase. The Garage, 47.6%. City Attorney, 13%. Municipal Court, 42.3%. Wow, some of these just amaze me. Public Works, 51%. We already got rid of the sanitation. I just don't imagine. I just can't see it. City Council, 221% in 10 years. When I was up there, we didn't use any money. Do you realize your budget's $250,000? When I was up there, we didn't spend any money in 2000. What do you do with $250,000? I just don't get it. Contingencies, 200%. The band, 8.7%. Cox Field, negative 100%. Promotional activities, 100%. Code enforcement, 100%. IT, 100%. But back in 2016-17, it was zero. Now it's 685, 112. That's what I'm saying. The budget needs a serious look out. You know, history repeats itself. If I'd go back to when Mr. Wilson back there cut the budget, lowered the tax rate 25%. As long as we don't mess with anything that's going to make our insurance rates increase for the citizens. You know, the insurance companies go by the code, what's that called? I forget, the fire department, what are they?
ISO.
As long as we don't lower our ISO rating? Huh? Lower, as long as we don't raise it? It's been 25 years. As long as we don't raise it, that's where we need to be. Like I said, we're only 25,000. We're not Dallas. We don't have the money. Everybody I've talked to, and I've talked to a lot, do you think I just come up here to talk to you guys for no reason at all? A lot of people ask me to do this because they don't have the courage to come up here. They're not wanting what they're being fed. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Beeser. Is there anyone else?
Hello, my name is Harley Draven. I'm at 2213 Hubbard Street. I have a disability. I live on $1,000 a month. My elderly mother with Alzheimer's lives on an income slightly above that a month. My husband, who works for $16 an hour, together the three of our incomes barely makes anything. Because Texas doesn't cover my medical supplies, I have to pay for those out of pocket. Our monthly income, or our mortgage payments, pardon me, went up $400 because we couldn't cover the escrow for last year's tax, property taxes. I understand taxes need to go up. We need to pay for things. The problem isn't with the city council. Our problem is the state of Texas minimum wage is only $7.50. It's been that way since 2009. Help me to find out who to talk to so we can go to the state, because people cannot afford these taxes because we are not paid enough. Together, if we fight the state and raise the minimum wages, then we can afford these taxes. We can increase our economy here locally. We represent not just Paris, we represent Lamar County. Let's take the fight to state. Let's make it so our people can afford these things. Let's make it so our people can stay in their homes. Because if these taxes go up, you will have me as homeless. You'll have my elderly mother as homeless. And then what are you going to do for us? There's no homeless shelters here anymore. There's no resources for us anymore. We need to raise the minimum wage so this way there's not such a fight against all these increases. Help me to fight for our people, because together we can raise that minimum wage. I was told it'd never work. Let's prove these people wrong.
Thank you, Ms. Draven.
Sean Huffman, 4640 Deer Haven. I had no intention on speaking about anything, and I'm going to tell you I know who you need to vote for. But you're in a tough spot, right? And we know that. Sounds like the can's been kicked down the road a little bit, and it's time to bite the bullet. I can't just throw any more cliches. But we're going to have to work together in a completely transparent fashion with our public, with the citizens. And I don't think there's any way you get this vote without doing that. Everyone that's here that works for the city is worth their money, right? You're doing it right now in a scarcity budget. You don't have enough people. You don't. So that's a simple fact. So I want to encourage everyone to find a way to get on the same team here. All of us. This isn't you against them or you against them. We have a simple need. We got to find a way to fund the city. And that's going to require an increase in taxes, probably. It's going to require a real tough audit of the budget, right? But we just have to work together to get there. You have my support. I appreciate what you're doing. I know it's not easy. I can tell you from my current run, it's not easy to try to make everybody happy, and you're not going to. But let me say, I agree with you, by the way. An increase in wages sure makes increases in taxes feel better, right? How do we do that? We can do that. We bring more revenue in. We work harder. We do those things. So, again, I didn't intend to speak, but I just want to say thank you for what you're doing. You're in a tough spot. You didn't cause all this, okay? We need to understand that, and we have to come together and work on these breakout meetings and have true discussions, not ideological battles, and say this is just the facts. Fix it, and let's move down the road so we get ourselves back to level, and then we can start growing from there. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Okay, I will go ahead and close the public hearing. Yeah, I know this is an item that we're not going to take action on, but we're actually going to go on to agenda item number 17 and discuss and act on an ordinance adopting a budget for the ensuing fiscal period beginning October 1st, 2026 and ending September 30th, 2027. Staff.
Okay, so this is an ordinance to adopt the fiscal year 26-27 proposed budget. There's no obligation tonight to adopt the budget at this meeting. This item can be postponed to the August 24th meeting if so desired. If council chooses to postpone it to the August 24th meeting, then the next item ratifying the property tax revenue increase will also need to be postponed as well.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you so
thank
much,
you.
Ms. Rogers. Council, is there any, one way or another that you'd like to go?
Well, I want to go with staff's recommendation. First of all, I'd like to say to thank everybody for the comments. I mean, it's really good comments and dialogue. But I'd make the motion that we postpone consideration of this item to the August 24th, 2026 City Council meeting.
Second that.
Okay, motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. We will now move on to agenda item number 18, discuss and act on an ordinance ratifying property tax revenue increase reflecting in the 26-27 fiscal year budget. And I know this is the same deal since we went ahead and moved that, then do we actually
You'll need to
take a formal vote?
move to table this one as well.
Okay, then I will go ahead and open the floor for anyone that would like to make a motion.
Motion, we move it to the next meeting, the 24th.
Got a motion? Do I hear a second?
Second?
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. We will now move on to agenda item number 19, discuss and act on a proposed tax rate for fiscal year 26-27 and act on a resolution calling a public hearing. Mr. Marriott.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Give me just a moment. to
Yes, sir.
Find my PowerPoint here. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and members of the council. Before I say anything on this item, I would like to thank Myra for all the work she's done on this. She's been very, very much a key part of this. Matter of fact, she's done more of it than I have, so just wanted to give her kudos. Okay, for this item, I've prepared 2 slides. The first slide details our property tax rates, all the 3 calculated rates and the proposed rates. It also breaks out the M&O revenues and the INS revenues. You will note that the M&O revenues between the proposed rate and the no new revenue rate, there's a difference of about $3 million. It just happens that that $3 million is almost exactly what our deficit was for this year's budget. So that's how we established, that we needed to go for that. We need to balance the budget without pulling down our reserves any further. We continue to pull down reserves. We run into, problems when we go to issue debt and things like that. So we start cutting into our reserves, and we also have a reserve policy. We need to stay within that. So the next slide is the impact on the average household, and you will see the tax, as Myra said, the increase here is about $219.08, whereas hers was $171. The difference is the tax bill would have gone up even if we didn't change the tax rate because taxable values went up. So the amount related to the rate increase is $171.26, or about 47 cents a day. Moving on to comments now. When the city proposes a tax rate increase exceeding the no new revenue rate, state law requires that we publish a special notice prior to conducting the tax rate hearing. That notice is attached to the memo. All we have to do is add the vote as far as who voted for it in order to have it to publish for the newspaper. The tax rate approved at this meeting will be published in that notice for our next meeting. The no new tax rate is a rate that would produce the same amount of property tax revenue as last year on properties that existed last year. You would get growth for new construction and so on. This year, the no new revenue rate is calculated at 45.9755 cents per $100 of a taxable value. The rate that staff is recommending is 57.239 cents per $100 in taxable value. This rate will allow the city to adopt a balanced budget as required by the state law and the city charter. At the August 24th meeting, the city council can adopt the rate approved at this meeting, or a lower rate. You cannot approve a rate next meeting that is higher than what we proposed this meeting. The final rate cannot exceed the rate of, I already said that, sorry. State law requires that we have at least 60% of council vote in favor of this at the next meeting. Otherwise, we will drop down to the no new revenue rate. So it's important we have, as many people here as possible to vote next time. Staff requests approval of resolution approving the 57.239 cent proposed rate. And the only other thing I would say about this item is please note that the tax rate motion language in the memo has the wrong amount in it. It should be 57.239 cents or 0.57239. And I'll be happy to answer any questions. I think Rose may have some comments too.
I added them while Myra was presenting, so I'm actually good.
Okay.
Okay, council, any questions, any discussion on this item? If not, I'll go ahead and hear a motion.
You gonna make a motion? Okay. I make the motion that we want to postpone this, right?
This is for, we have.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve this item, what is it, 19?
19.
Yeah, item 19.
I think you may have to have the rate in your motion.
I think they're probably your magic words to the motion. Do you have them in your materials?
Let me see. It's in there.
It's at the bottom of the memo.
Okay, I make the motion that upon proper notice and final adoption after public hearing is held, property taxes be increased by the adoption of a tax rate for fiscal year 2026-27 not to exceed 0.660705 per 100, I think it's $100 evaluation, and approve the resolution calling for a public hearing on the proposed fiscal year 2026-27 ad valorem tax rate to be held on August 24th, 2026 at 5:30 p.m. the City Council Chamber.
I want to make note on one thing on that, that actual rate should be 0.572390. Just to make sure that we have that correct.
57 what?
572390.
And you can simply amend your motion for
I'm in the motion to add 0.572390, not to exceed that.
Thank you, sir.
I apologize for the error.
Okay, so we've got a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Agenda item number 20, discuss and act on a resolution ordering a special election on November 3rd, 2026 for the purpose of submitting a proposed tax rate that exceeds a voter approval rate for the 2026 tax year. Mr. Marriott.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council. If the city approves a property tax rate exceeding the voter approval rate, state law requires an election be held. The proposed resolution calls for this election, sets the ballot language, and gives voters information on polling places and early voting. The election will be held on November 3rd. This resolution needs to be approved tonight, even though we don't approve the tax rate tonight, because we have to make the notice requirements for the election. The next meeting will be too late. Staff requests approval of this resolution. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Council, is there any discussion, any questions we have for Mr. Marriott? If not, I'll go ahead and hear a motion.
I make a motion for the approval of a resolution ordering a special election on November 3rd, 2026, for the purpose of submitting a proposed tax rate that exceeds the voter-approved rate for the 2026 tax year.
Here.
I second.
There's a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Agenda item number 21, discuss and act on a resolution approving a residential tax abatement and economic development agreement with Kyle Thomas as part of the 5 and 5 Housing Infill Redevelopment Program for LCAD number 15451, City of Paris, Block 96, Lot 6, 848th Street Northwest. This item was published in the Paris News for August 24th, so we're going to go ahead and just pass this one on, move it over to the next meeting for August 24th. We will go ahead and move on to agenda item number 22, discuss and act on appointments to various boards and commissions. Staff, do we have a presentation on this?
Yes, we do. You all are going to be so pleased. We re-advertised for board applicants, and we called ones that were not selected. And we've got it worked out where you can have all the boards filled, with the exception of Housing Authority. We still need a resident member there. And then have 2 alternates still remaining on Main Street. Since I sent you all the memo, we had a little change on Main Street. We had someone resign from there, so we can fill that tonight and then leave 2 alternates on that. What we're recommending on Building and Standards is that you all appoint Plug Clem and Jerry Williams. On Board of Adjustment, Matthew Armstrong. On Main Street, Michael O'Neill. That would leave 2 alternate positions. And then Housing Authority, we're still recruiting. That's our recommendation. And you all have a full boards. All your boards are full.
Is there any discussion on this item? I just want to say it just real quick for those that volunteer, and I know we have some out here that volunteer. We appreciate you all for volunteering, and hey, if we can tap others that want to volunteer, this is great. A lot of these individuals actually end up becoming council members. Which is really neat, because that's how actually majority of us have gotten on to council, is we had that interest in wanting to volunteer. So I just want to say I commend you all for volunteering and appreciate that. It's not paid work. You know, clearly you get paid quite a bit of money for that, right? But you do get a chance to help put a change to your community the way that you see it fit. So I appreciate that. With that being said, is there a motion on this item?
I make a motion that we make the recommendations that Ms. Ellis for boards and commissions.
I second the motion.
All right, we got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 23, consider and approve future events for City Council and/or city staff pursuant to resolution number 2004-081. Does anyone have anything? I'll say this, we do have Coffee with Cops tomorrow at 9 a.m., I believe, at the Whataburger on Lamar Avenue. I'm purely going off of my memory on that, so.
That's right.
Perfect, okay. And then, is there any other events that we have? I think that's really it.
Just if anybody wants to come to any of our meetings, we have budget discussion meetings in every district, so we'll have 7 of those. We'll have on the 18th a big public meeting. We'll put out an online form as well. So we just want to make sure that everybody gets to come and be heard, and we appreciate you all coming here tonight.
Awesome, thank you so much. All right, well, we will go ahead and move on to agenda item number 24, adjournment.
So moved.
All right, we got a motion. Motion second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion carries 5-0.